Hey everyone, Ted here from Mango Dogs, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 myths that people talk about when it comes to dog aggression. It seems pretty ridiculous that there's actually dog trainers out there that say dogs cannot be rehabilitated. Fundamentally, I disagree with this. It's something that I do every day. I have colleagues around North America and around the rest of the world that actually do this. And when we talk about rehabilitation, it means being able to actually bring the dog back to its original state. That's what rehabilitation means. And for somebody that works with aggressive dogs every day and allows the dog to get to the place where the owners can actually trust the dog, it's just second nature to me. That's what I do. That's my entire career. Essentially, if somebody's saying that that can't happen, it just speaks volumes about the amount of aggressive dogs that they're working with and their specific abilities in being able to work with aggressive dogs. Spaying or neutering your dog is going to help them after they've already started to develop behavioral problems or aggression issues towards other dogs or people. This is something that I hear very, very commonly. I just had somebody in just yesterday who said that was something that was told to her by her veterinarian. In fact, her dog actually came out being more aggressive after she was spayed. It is very rare that I will hear of a dog that gets better after being spayed or neutered because it's a huge life change for your dog. They are chemically, hormonally, sexually not the same animals they were before, and that typically makes dogs less confident than they were before the surgery. So sometimes there's no behavior change at all. Sometimes there's a behavior change in the way that the dogs have a little bit less energy. They're not, don't have as much, stamina as they did before they were spayed or neutered. But if your dog already has aggression issues, realistically, it's not going to take the problem away. In some cases, unfortunately, it actually makes things worse. The vast majority of aggression is based in fear, or at least it starts in fear. So this is a concept that I've deemed overcompensating aggression. And essentially, I believe that the vast majority of dogs, they are scared of something and then they start to react and they see that the person or the dog walks away. Sometimes that's all that it becomes, and the dog is only reacting, will not actually end up biting anybody, will not go out of their comfort zone to actually hurt a person or a dog. There's a lot of dogs that will habituate those behaviors, and it actually turns into a bullying type behavior where they learn, I bark, the person walks away, or the dog keeps walking down the street, and they get reinforced thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of times until they actually believe, hey, as long as I freak out, nobody's going to come in my area. So a lot of this stuff actually starts in fear, and some of it starts and ends in fear. Some of it starts in fear and transitions into a kind of a bullying or overcompensating type of a situation. And then there's other situations that are just absolutely not based in fear. They were never started in fear. And really, there's just situations. I worked with a dog about 3 or 4 years ago that was so aggressive. This dog had killed a cat, had been in dog fights, he had bitten several people, literally ripped the shirt off a jogger who was walking next to him. And this dog could go out to a field and he could be at one side of the field, let's say a large football field, and he could see a kid at the exact opposite end of that field. And if they weren't managing him completely with a leash and a muzzle, he would run across the field as fast as he could and literally try to tackle that kid on the ground, bite them in the face, and there is no way to process that information, what that dog was doing, and say that is based in fear. The child is hundreds, maybe thousands of feet away. It is completely impossible for every case of aggression to be caused by fear. This one really interests me. I've heard from a lot of trainers that are typically more into using positive methods, that using correction with your dog will actually make your dog aggressive. I have never in my life seen this. I use a balanced training approach, which means I use positive reinforcement wherever I possibly can in training, and then there's other contexts where I will use aversives and use negative reinforcement in other situations to be able to get the dog to be more responsive, more respectful, and just, more livable realistically. And I have never seen a context where using any type of correction has actually made things worse. I just started a client today who had been through 3 positive only trainers, and her dog was completely out of control. She's only 1 year old. She had done everything. She had been to most of the trainers in the area, and we're still having all these aggression issues. So the fact of the matter is, I had to come in and said, okay, well, you obviously really have everything nailed down on the positive side of the spectrum. All right, let's get into some of the negative stuff. And boom, the dog is like a completely different dog right away. In fact, with that dog, it was the silver bullet. Stating that it actually makes dogs aggressive. I don't know where people are coming up with this stuff. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay, let's talk a little bit about pit bulls. Ooh, taboo, I know. Are they inherently more aggressive than other breeds out there? I don't believe that they are. I think that the media absolutely loves to throw them under the bus. Trust me, over the years, I've had the media try to pull things out of me as much as I can. And when they realized that I was, I was not gonna give them the information that they wanted, they stopped contacting me. And really, it comes down to selling newspapers, getting people to watch the news. I've seen situations where dogs were clearly boxers, but they reported them being pit bulls because, hey, they love propagating fear. But that's a whole other story. I think there is some level of truth to the speak about intensity, because realistically, if you look at the numbers, they are obviously stronger than most breeds out there. They're very muscular, and the levels of intensity that you see in pit bulls is usually, it's really high if those dogs do become aggressive. So the fact of the matter is, I don't think that there's more aggressive pit bulls out there than any other breed out there. I do believe that in a lot of cases, the level of intensity, if a pit bull becomes aggressive, is usually higher than most other breeds. For example, I've never met a Pomeranian that has killed another dog. I have met pit bulls that have killed other dogs. Obviously, the intensity is a lot higher. They have really high prey drives for the most part. They're just intense dogs in certain situations. If something does go wrong, sometimes it can go catastrophically wrong. Is that even a word? I don't know. But those are my views on pit bulls. They can make amazing dogs. They can be amazing with kids. They can be the kinds of dogs that you bring to dog parks. But if things do go wrong, you really got to make sure that you have a qualified trainer around to be able to pick their brain, because things can go really wrong really quickly sometimes. But to say that they are inherently more aggressive than other breeds, I don't think that's the case. So this has been the 5 myths of dog aggression. Hope you learned something. Hope it challenged the way that you think about something. Thanks so much for watching.